Hey y'all, so this is the first tabletop I ever built. This has been in our dining room and it's time for an upgrade. As you can see, got a lot of cracks in it. That one you could actually see daylight through. First step was to take the tabletop apart since it wasn't glued together. I could just take the boards apart and start running them through the table saw to take the factory round over off of the edges of the boards so we can get a nice seamless top whenever we glue it up. Step two, I ran them through the planer. This does two things. One, it takes all the paint and top coat off of the boards really quickly, but it also gets everything down to an even thickness. That way it's just easier to line everything up in the next step. So after that, I lay everything down in the pipe clamps and grab some Titebond 2. And if you don't do the little squiggly line with the glue, it doesn't work as good. So squiggly line it up, then smooth it all out and lay the pieces together. Get them under some clamping pressure and let them sit for a day or so to dry up real good. Oh, don't mind the earthquake. That's my little helper getting his power wheels out. Yep, there it is. Okay, so all dry. Next step was to plane down the top. Just took a hand plane and just took off the high spots to get everything down and flush. Now cutting up the ends with the skill saw to prep to put the breadboard ends on. So I put the breadboard ends on with dowel joinery. So all you do is you mark out where you want the dowels, clamp the guide in place, drill the holes, drill the corresponding holes on the breadboard, then slide in the dowels, and you're all set. It's really simple. Here's a little pro tip. What I always do is take the dowel I'm going to insert and put it in my drill, spin it on some 80 grit sandpaper, tapers that end over nice and smooth. That way whenever you tap it in, it just lines up a little bit easier. All right, so got the breadboards on, got everything evened up. Now it's time for sanding. Sanded 80, 120, and 220 grits. Little tip here, if you'll take a pencil and mark the entire top of the table, then you can go through and sand, and you sand until the pencil mark is gone. Then you know you're ready to go on to the next grit. After it's all sanded smooth, take the router with a round over bit in it and round over the top, bottom, and all four corners. Then after that, we're ready for stain. So first step, you want to go get you some lunch lady gloves. They're good for serving sloppy joes and smearing stain. So toss on a couple of those and you're good to go. So what I always do is I apply it with a rag. I like the way that comes out a little bit better than a brush. So what I'll do is I'll flood the surface with some stain, get everything covered, and then I come back through with a dry rag and wipe off any excess. Now that the stain's dry, it's time to seal it. So what I used on this tabletop was the Minwax polyacrylic. This is actually the third coat going on here. So what you do is you lay down a coat, you sand it, and put down your next coat. And you just keep going until you get the desired look you're after. So putting the top back on the base, just put a couple screws in through the aprons and good to go there. Last step when it comes to finishing is taking some steel wool, knocking down any dust nibs, and then putting on a good coat of paste wax. So all you do is you rub the wax on, you let it firm up, and then you buff it out. Super simple. Hope you guys liked hearing the process that I go through to build a tabletop. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss any of our upcoming projects. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.